Welcome to our Wealth Made Simple. There's nothing magic about wealth. There's nothing mysterious about wealth, but a lot of people think it's only there for the rich people. It's only there for the wealthy people. So what we would like to do today is just run through what wealth really is and how you can actually create wealth at the end of the day. Just before we start, we're not financial advisors or financial planners, and the information that we're sharing with you is basically our own experience in a process that we started 3 years ago in creating wealth. So that's what we would like to share with you so that you can take it away and say, yes, it's something that I can or can't use. If you might need to make any financial decisions, then contact your qualified financial advisor before making those decisions. Now, most of myself, we've got a saying, being poor is a disease. It's a disease of the mind. It's where it actually, people think that is just it, that they were born poor, they're going to die poor. And being average is conditioning. And when it starts at primary school, where you get your first report card and there's a class average and there's a grade average, etc. And mom and daddy goes, oh, that's fine, honey, you're average and that is fine. That is absolute nonsense, okay? And being wealthy is a choice. Absolutely. It's when you sit down one day and you say, I'm fed up. This is not the way that I want to live. You make that choice and you start creating wealth. So it's a definite choice. When we think about the song Money, Money, Money by ABBA, I work all night, I work all day. To pay the bills I have to pay. It's sad. And still there never seems to be a single penny left for me. That's too bad. In my dreams I have a plan. If I got me a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work at all. I'll fool around and have a ball. Money, money, money must be funny in a rich man's world. Money, 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 always sunny in a rich man's world. Okay, and a lot of people think it's money that is the only thing that creates wealth. So we're going to have a look at wealth in general, and let's see what people say about wealth. And the average person spends most of their waking hours earning money. Just think about your normal working day or your normal waking day. I mean, half of the time you spend at work or either traveling to work and back. And then the have-nots, they earn their money from working. So they trade their hours, the daily hours, they trade that for money, while the haves let their money do the earning for them through investments and other forms of residual income, such as having property that they rent out, etc., etc. And then wealth is measured in time, not rands. And this is a very, very simple thing that we can solve right now. If you need to work 18 hours a day for a lifestyle of choice, what is your lifestyle of choice? Working 18 hours a day? That's a question that you need to ask yourself. So the ideal wealth is where you have the money and you have the time to actually enjoy that money. Okay, and we've got a very good friend, Alan Schneeberger, and he always says, money will just amplify everything. So the bad news is, if you're an unhappy person, guess what? Then having more money will just amplify that. You will just be more unhappy. If you inherently a happy person, having more money will amplify that, and you will be even happier. That's just some suggested viewing and reading. If you look at Wealth Creation 101 on the Viewpoint app, and the Tools Development Basic Series, there are 3 golden rules when it comes to creating wealth. The first one is multiple income streams. With multiple income streams, it purely means that you don't have all your eggs in one basket. You're creating more than one source of income. Spend less than you earn and protect what you have. Now, if you look at those 3, they are actually interlinked. If you can't spend less than what you earn because of commitments, financial commitments, etc., you need to create a second income stream. Okay, or a third income stream. Protect what you have. If you only have one single source of income and you lose that source of income, then you cannot protect what you have. You're going to lose everything. Okay, and of course, then you're going to spend more than what you actually earn. And then Rich Dad Poor Dad, just one of those books. It's a very, very simple, to the point book. It gives you the business model, all the advantages and shortfalls of all the different models, working for a salary, etc., etc. And yeah, of course, if you look at Viewpoint, it will fall within the big business model there. And it was Groucho Marx that said, well, money can't buy you happiness. It certainly lets you choose your form of misery. So yes, from my side, I would rather sit and sip, my glass of red Canon called Black Label Pinotage at 2,600 Rand a bottle, than drink tap water. That is just my choice. Now, if you look at this picture, this actually sums up how many people in the world actually think at this point in time. If you look at that guy, he says, no, I can't be bothered to see a crazy salesman. We've got a battle to fight. And what is that battle? That battle is keeping the wolf from the door, like the old people used to say. Because that is where you live on the salary and you get the commission and the profit and loss on your small business and the pension. And it's really a fight to survive from month to month. And that is not what prosperity and wealth is all about. If you look at this guy, yeah, he's got the Gatling gun there or the machine gun. And he says, this is it. This is what gives you recurring income, intergenerational wealth, great rewards, and you're building assets, and you have all the time in the world to actually enjoy what you created at the end of the day. So the basic rules that you need to do if you want to create wealth. First of all, you need to respect money. And if you do not respect money, then money will follow those people that you respect it. And here's a simple test. It's a simple asset test. If you look at it, how much money have you already earned in your lifetime? And where is that money? What have you done with that money? And people make obscene amounts of money, and then they end up broke at the end of the day. And the question is asked, what would they really do with that money? So it's easy to make money, but it's not easy to hang on to it. It's something that you need to teach yourself. Second thing is know yourself. If you know where your own pitfalls are, if you know where your weaknesses are, and you can actually either circumvent them or alternatively compensate for them, because the average people buy things, and they buy things because it makes them feel happy. They keep up with the Joneses and all those kind of stuff, where wealthy people sit down and they build assets. And to me, the biggest role model here is Warren Buffett, that basically lived in the same house all his life. He never had a chauffeur-driven car, etc. But he went out there, and his focus was to actually build wealth. And then the third thing is automate what you're doing. So when you automate it, you take the personality totally out of the equation. You know, it's like a decision that you make today, and when you automate it, that decision will be made on a daily basis automatically without any input from your side until you are successful at the end of the day. So take yourself out of the picture. Too many people spend money that they haven't earned to buy things that they don't want, to impress people that they don't like. Isn't that so true? Where you buy things because you think people are going to now look up to you, etc. Those are not the kind of people that you want that you really would need to look up to you, because you are your own person at the end of the day. Respect money. Let's start with those three that we mentioned there. There are two groups of people, and I'll call them Group A, which is accept, and this is basically where we function. And this is what we would like to share with you. We had little or no financial security, although we were making a lot of money. We had an average mediocre lifestyle. We got up like 5 o'clock in the morning, left home at 6 to go to the office. I got home 6, 6:30, couldn't afford to go on holidays because we were working as contractors, which meant no work, no pay, etc. That wasn't really the lifestyle, although we were making good money. Keep it in mind, wealth is not only about money. You have things, and that's where we actually practice retail therapy. So if we had the weekend off, we would hit the malls. Boy, then we'd go to town, and when we get home, that buyer's remorse starts setting in. It's not really stuff that we wanted, but we really bought it to actually feel better. We lived from month to month, although, like I said, we were making good money, and our retirement was a nightmare. It wasn't a dream looking forward to. And at the end of the day, we wouldn't have left a financial legacy. We would have lived and consumed while we were here, but there wouldn't be much left after for the loved ones that we leave behind. And we realized, Group B, that's what we had to become. Those are the things that we had to put in place. Financial security, and again, going back to the 3 golden rules, we knew that we needed a second income. Lifestyle of choice. Lifestyle of choice is where you really do those things that a lot of people can only aspire to do and will never ever get there. We're talking about the top 3 to 5% in the world. That is the kind of lifestyle that you want, and you only get that by creating wealth. Okay, we wanted growing investments, things that are growing while we don't need to pay attention to it, and looking forward to our golden years. I mean, I'm 66 years old. And we're excited when we wake up in the morning, because we know that the years that we have left are going to be absolutely awesome. And then, of course, at the end of the day, we want to leave a financial legacy, which means we really want to leave something for our loved ones where that they can enjoy the spoils of what we did while we walked this earth. Now, when you know yourself, you're able to make better choices about everything. From small decisions like what's the color going to be of your next car, or which sweater do I need to buy, to big decisions like who's going to be the partner that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. What is the second income that I'm actually choosing? Is it sound? Is it going to give me continuous income, etc.? So when you know yourself, you can make good quality decisions. So when you know yourself, again, I'm going to start with group A and B. And this is where you need to be brutal. You need to be absolutely honest about how you're going to answer this. If you belong in this group where you have a very poor or no budget, and having a budget doesn't mean you spend on your credit card until it's declined. That is not a budget. Okay, where so this is people that do not budget at all. They just spend the money until it's finished, and then they try and survive until the end of the month, or they have a very poor budget. Okay, they have passions, fashions, and fetishes. Now, when you think about that, I always compare it. You get a guy, he's a cyclist, and he spends 100,000 Rand on a bicycle, and you ask him, okay, now where do you actually rank yourself in South Africa in the cycling community? And he said, no, I'm just a social cycler. But then you look at their lifestyle, and all that they have is a bicycle of 100,000 Rand. And you say, ask yourself, how can this be a conscious quality decision if people do those kind of things? My fetish and my passion is cars. I've already had something like 150 cars in my lifetime, and currently I have 2 cars parked in the garage, both paid for. And the difference is now I've got a different approach to cars. To me, I still have a passion for that, but I do not spend money that I do not have. Have a consumer outlook, and that is where people say, oh, this is a brand new BMW M3. I would like one of these, and can I, yes, I have the deposit, and can I afford to pay it monthly? Guys, there will always be temptations. So consumer outlook is where they lead the consumer by the nose. They live from month to month. They abuse credit cards, like I've already said, spend it until it gets refused. They do not use a credit card the right way. I'm going to show you how to use a credit card the right way. And they have bad debt. And I'm not talking about bad debt that they do not pay. It's where they incur debt that's purely there to satisfy a passion or a fashion or a fetish. Okay, bad debt is where you spend money that doesn't make money. And they are absolutely into instant gratification. I want it now. I'm not prepared to wait a year or 2 years or 5 years for that. I want it now. Where if you look on the other side of the coin, Group B, they have a very strict budget. They spend less than what they earn. It means that they have money to invest. They build assets and investments, etc. Stuff that work for them while they sleep. You need to understand that that is what wealthy people practice. They've got things that work for them when they sleep. They protect what they have. Extremely important. You can have all the stuff in the world, and all of a sudden something goes wrong, and you lose all of that because you did not protect it. They utilize credit cards. Credit cards are a very effective way of spending money. It gives you a good record of what you spend your money on, where you spend your money, etc., etc. And if you look at, keep in mind, first 55 days credit, no interest on that. That means if you clear your credit cards on a monthly basis, that means you spend 10,000 on your card, you clear it at the end of the month. You pay that 10,000. That means you've got a very effective and cheap way of actually spending your money. And these people incur good debt. For example, they buy a car, and you're going to go like, oh, whoa, car's not an investment, and I agree with you. But what if they take that car and they say, okay, I'm going to put a driver in this car, I'm going to Uber this car, and the car starts generating income. While I'm sleeping, the driver's working, I pay the driver a salary, I pay the car, I pay the interest on the car, but I'm making a profit on that each and every month. If I decide 3 years down the line, this is it, I don't want to continue with that, car's already been paid off if I do it the right way, and whatever I get out of the car, that was capital growth, and I made money while the car was working. That is, for example, good debt. Okay, and they practice deferred gratification. You know, so many people, they go to the movies twice a week, etc. And then they go like, we don't have money to go down to Cape Town for the jazz festival. And the reason is because they go to the movies twice a week. So don't complain because you do not have the money. If you plan for it and you say, this year I'm going to the jazz festival in Cape Town, and you put that money away, I'll tell you, that'll stay with you a lot longer than the movie that you saw last week that you can't remember today. Now, a penny saved is a penny earned. And the way that I usually explain this to people, that you say, if you work for 30,000 Rand a month and you have already in an investment vessel already accumulated 30,000 Rand, that means when you sit with all your colleagues that are earning 30,000 Rand a month, and it's the first of the month, everybody starts on zero, but you start because you already have 30,000 Rand sitting in the bank. So every time you save a Rand, that is a Rand that you do not need to work for. Okay, now when you look at your budgets, it's something that you need to accept. Budgets are hard because it's counter to what you want to do. So it's like an enemy, but I see it as a friend. This is my financial advisor. This is the person that helps me to control what I spend and to make sure that I put money into those things that are going to work for me if I'm not there to be able to work. But when as a couple, if you watch this as a couple, both partners need to be involved when you do the budget. Else it's going to be, that's your budget, it's not my budget. But when it comes to controlling the budget, that should be up to one single person only. And that should be up to the most responsible person. That's the person that needs to apply the brakes. So that's a person that's going to be accountable at the end of the day, whether the budget is working or not. Okay, now, first of all, if you want to start a budget, if you don't have a budget, if you want to redo your budget, you first of all need to determine, where does my money go? And you know, there's so many times, and it's something that we realized when we were living in Jeffreys Bay and my wife went out. We moved into a new property in the Marina Martinique, and my wife went out and she went to buy some stuff for the house. And she came back and she was unloading the car, and it was packs and packs and packs of stuff. And my daughter-in-law was sitting there watching it, and she said to her, Mom, what did all of this cost? And my wife said, I don't know. Okay, now that is when you don't know where your money is going, and you need to apply the brakes. And the only way that you can do that is you need to record your expenses. And this is over a period of time. I recommend that you do it for at least 3 months to find out, where is my money going on a daily basis. And there are very nice apps that are free. One is a one money expense tracker. You always have your cell phone with you, so that way you can actually go and record how you spend your money, where it's going. And of course, a good old-fashioned clipboard, something that's on the fridge. And when you go out in the morning and you've got 100 Rand in your pocket, you come back in the evening and that 100 Rand is gone, you need to be able to record how you actually spend that 100 Rand. And then, of course, the Excel spreadsheet. And even today, the cell phones have Excel on it, where you can have all the different categories and you start recording how you spend your money. Where does my money go to on a monthly basis? And then you need to categorize those expenses. How are the essentials? Those are things that you cannot live without. I mean, like groceries, you need food. You can't go without food. But again, when it comes to food, there are luxuries and there are things that you need to buy. Nice to have. Those are things that's nice to have, but it's not an essential. Now, if you tell me that your DSTV is an essential, we're gonna debate that. Okay, but nice to have. Those are things that you can do without, and then things that you have in there where you're purely wasting money. And that, you know, they talk about the latte factor. That's where you spend every day you buy a cup of Starbucks coffee, and let's say it costs you 25 Rand for that cup. Guys, go do the maths. 20 times 25, if you do it only on working days, that is money that could work for you. And we're going to show you a little bit later on the effect of small amounts of money that can do huge things for you. Okay, and then plan your expenses. Okay, now, when we say plan your expenses, a monthly budget comes from a 5-year budget. For example, you don't service your car every month, but most probably you're going to serve it at least once or twice a year. So when you do a budget and you recorded your expenses for 3 months, and that did not include the car service, it does not mean that you're not going to have money to service your car. You need to start planning for it until it actually comes up. So a monthly budget actually comes from a 5-year budget at the end of the day. So when you look at your budget, you've got bills and accommodation and your utilities and medical, short-term insurance, life and funeral cover, running expenses. Running expenses really means things that break and you need to replace it. You need to buy groceries, airtime, data, travel, clothing. So those are things that will form part of your budget. And then you need an emergency fund. Now, this is what all financial advisors will tell you. And when you look at an emergency fund, you're looking at about 6 months worth of income in a vessel that where you have readily access to it. So you're not going to tie it down on a 36-month fixed deposit kind of thing. 6 months income. So if you earn, let's make it simple, 10,000 Rand a month, you need 10,000 times 6, you need 60,000 in your emergency fund. What do you need the emergency fund for? As I do hope that you have a better memory than that. We were in lockdown, total lockdown, not even 3 months down the line. Okay, that is where people were, some companies stopped paying their employees and they had no income, but they still had to eat, they still had to do all the things that you normally do. So that is the way an emergency fund comes into it. For example, you get retrenched, not something that you actually plan. Now, if you've got 6 months income there, it gives you the opportunity and the time to go and find alternative employment. Now, things that you usually don't think about when you do your budget is pets. Now, we've got 2 dogs that we love to bits, and in the last little bit more than a month, make it 2 months, we spent about 4,000 Rand on our pets, on medical expenses. So you need like pet insurance or a pet fund, etc. And then Christmas, it comes every year, but yet people, when it comes to Christmas, they broke. Why? It's going to come again next year on the 25th of December. Start planning for those things like birthdays, entertainment, nights out. That is where a lot of people waste a lot of money. You know, they leave home and they say, I'm just going to go out. I'm going to have a quick beer with my mates, etc. And he comes back like 1,000 Rand down at the end of the day. Okay, DSTV, Netflix, and Showmax, those are things that it's like in the background. Those should be part of your budget. Gym fees, running, cycling, annual holidays, car maintenance, like I've already mentioned. Those are things that need to be in your budget. Now, when we say automate and take the personality out of it, this is Philip Fourie. He says, focus on the things you want, not on the things you don't need. You see, if I only focus on debt, how will I create wealth? So if I take the killing off of debt, if I take that out of my mind, okay, and I automate it, then I can carry on with the rest of the things and focusing on creating wealth. Now, you've got 2 ways that you can kill off debt. Okay, the first one is called the snowball effect, and that is where you, let's say you owe on 10 different things that you need to pay on a monthly basis, which is purely debt related. And you say, okay, now let's have a look at the smallest one of that. And let's say you're paying 100 Rand on something where there's still 500 Rand outstanding. And you go like, I've got to spare 100 Rand. I'm going to up this to 200 Rand. Now I'm paying 200 Rand, and which means like 2.5 months down the line, I've actually killed off that debt. Now I was paying 200 Rand on that. Now I take that 200 Rand, I move to the next lowest amount, and I add it to what I used to pay there. If I was paying 300 Rand, I would now pay 500 Rand a month. I kill that one off. I take that 500 Rand, add it to the next one, and you kill off one after the other. Okay, that's a snowball effect. The other one is the avalanche method. That is where you look at where you're paying the most interest. Now, these would be things like an overdraft, or these would be things like outstanding credit card debt, etc. You choose the one where you're going to save the most on interest if you start paying it off faster, and you pay that one off first, and then you move to the second, third, fourth one until you actually kill them off all. Okay, if it's not making money, get rid of it. But that's the important thing. If you have debt, it's not making money, shouldn't be in your budget. Get rid of it, kill it off, and move on. Now, automate with debit orders or lump sum. If you get an annual bonus and you say, well, that's it. Come December and I get my bonus, I'm going to take 10,000 on my bonus and I'm going to pay it off on this debt, etc. But automate it. Don't do it on a monthly basis where you need to pay it, because that's the easiest way to change your decision. Remember, get this out of get your personality out of it. Automate it and lock it so that you don't have access to it. So if I have a credit card, I'll start paying it off. And now it used to be 50,000, now I'm down to 30,000. The temptation's going to be there to say, okay, now I'm going to use that 20,000 that's available. Ask the bank to actually reduce your facility on the card. So you say, I'm going to pay it off by 2,000 a month and reduce my facility by 2,000, then you know that you do not have it, that you've locked it. Okay, I'm indebted to my father for living because my father gave me life, but I'm indebted to my teacher for teaching me how to live well. And this is Alexander the Great, and his teacher was Aristotle. And yes, what we're saying there is start reading literature, start finding a father that will teach you how to live well. And living well means living without debt and creating wealth. Okay, when it comes to building assets, we also saying automate that process. Again, take your personality out of it. The nice thing about it is you see stuff growing, and it's that feedback that you're getting. I'm on the right track. I'm doing the right thing, etc. And the important thing about building assets, a lot of people will tell you, I'm so broke, I do not have the money. I promise you, start small. Do not postpone. If you can start this today, do it today. Even if it's small, just start. Because the simple thing is, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. And it's the same in creating wealth. It starts with that first step to actually create wealth. The longer you wait, the more difficult it becomes. Because then things starts coming into your head where you say, hey, I'm 66. What can I do to change? I don't have the time. I promise you guys, anything that you do makes a big difference. Okay, now where does the money come from for you to invest and to start creating that automated wealth? It's hidden in your budget. Do not start with this step if you haven't done your budget yet. You're going to find the things where you're wasting money, and that is the money that you then take and you say, now this money is going to start working for me. And the same with killing of debt. Automate with debit orders, automate with lump sums, okay, and lock it. Do not give yourself access to that, because that's the easiest way where you're going to start spending the money that you've accumulated and say, well, now I'm going to do this because I have the money and I don't need to go into debt. Don't do that. If it's not allocated to a specific item in your budget, that wealth that you're creating is for something that you've already identified. Now, the question that we ask is, what if you were sitting on a gold mine and you don't know it? If you look at this, if you take 10,000 rand and you invest it at 10%, and you do it for 100 years, now no, nobody here still has 100 years left. Okay, but this is purely to illustrate something that we're going to chat about. That means in 100 years, you will accumulate 137.8 million rand. Okay, now I think that's a figure that makes a lot of magic for a lot of people, but the unfortunate thing is you're not going to live that long. Okay, that same 110,000 rand invested at twice the interest rate of 20% will not give you double the 138 million. It actually gives you 828.2 billion rand. Right now, what you're seeing there, okay, that is where exponential growth comes into it, and it is because of compounded interest. Just by doubling the interest, I mean, you get a lot more out at the end of the day. And it's one of those things where when you start investing, you need to know what exactly it is that you do. Now, a lot of people think I'm going to save. Now, we'll save, and we're purely going to look at where you put money into a savings account, bank, etc., etc. Now, the current repo rate. Now, the repo rate is the rate at which your bank, all the banks in South Africa, borrow money from the Reserve Bank. So the Reserve Bank would say, okay, Bank A, you can borrow money from me, and I will charge you 3.75%. So now the bank gets that, let's call it cheap money from the Reserve Bank. So when you go and borrow money from the bank to finance a car, etc., and they charge you 9% or 10 or 11 or 12 or 17%, the difference between the 3.75 and what you are paying the bank interest, that is where the bank makes their money. So on savings account, and I had a look at this, the banks will currently offer you between 3 to 5%, some a lot lower than 3%. But that basically means that if they offer you 3% and they pay 3.75% to the Reserve Bank, they make 0.75% profit on the money that they actually that you borrowed from the bank. Okay, now if you look at 5%, that's where they want you to tie down your money. That means that you're going to go for a fixed deposit of like 36 months or whatever the case might be. But then in most of the cases, the interest is taxable. You're going to pay interest on you're going to pay tax on the interest that you actually earn on your investment. And then, of course, there are bank charges. We actually opened an account for our grandchildren years ago, and we started putting money in there until we realized that the cost of the bank account was actually eating up all the interest that we were earning within the account. Now, currently, inflation is sitting at 4.34%. I don't know how they calculate that in their basket of 412 products, but that is what they've announced. Now, if you think about it, let's say I save money at 3% and inflation is 4.34%. I'm actually losing 1.34% on my money on a monthly basis. So keep that in mind when you save. I know that saving vehicles, you have readily access to that, which can be a good thing and a bad thing. We say rather invest, and there are loads of investment vessels out there, and yeah, investigate that. Now, you can do better than inflation when you invest versus save. Okay, your returns can be tax-free. Now, let's say, for example, you invest in unit trust, or you invest in directly in shares on the JSE. What you get at the end of the day is you get capital growth. That means that your shares are more valuable than when you bought them. They pay dividends. That means that you become a shareholder in a company. And when they declare a profit at the end of the day and they declare a dividend, based on that profit, you will share in the dividends as well. But keep in mind, when you invest, there's always a higher risk. And I highly recommend that you get professional people out there to actually help you. Now, this is what the JSE index looks like. Now, I just want to point out 3 points on that. And this is basically when you invest in the stock market, this is something that you would experience. And that day was February the 17th, and the index was sitting at 58,000, the JSE index. Okay, and then, of course, COVID came along. Okay, and look what happened to the money there, or the index, it dropped right down. Now, that's where a lot of people will tell you, I lost all my money because of COVID. That is not the case. You see, because it dropped down to let's say, around figures 40,000. But only from March the 16th to June the 8th, it was already back up to 54,000. You only lose money there if you sell. Now, if you look at the trend here, you will see there's always an up. You can actually draw the two lines on the highs and the lows. There's an upward trend, and that's why we say if you invest in unit trust, it's a 5 to 7 year investment if you want to realize good returns. Don't go on a 2 or a 3 month thing, because then those things are going to bite you, where you've got the big drops, the big valleys, etc. But if you stay there for 5 to 7 years, you're going to find good returns. Now, it was Einstein that said, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. Those are the wealthy people. They know how compounded interest works. And because they know, they actually utilize that. And that is where they start building wealth. And he who doesn't pays it. Now, guess where does he who doesn't that pays it, where their money goes? It goes to the people that understand it and actually earns it. Now, a conversation started. This is something that I did some time ago, and I find it just very thought-provoking. And what I did is I actually started an Excel spreadsheet. Now, I'm going to share with you that Excel spreadsheet and show you what I've done there. Now, with the Excel spreadsheet, it's a very, very simple process. You see, when you look at that there, all that I've done, I said, okay, I've given you 3 variables. How much do you invest per month? How much do you increase that monthly investment every year? And what is the percentage growth that you anticipate on your money? So, for example, let's say we start with a very simple plan, and we say, okay, we are going to invest 100 Rand a month. We're not going to increase that amount, so it's going to stay 100 Rand a month forever after. And let's say we anticipate 7% growth. What can we expect in year 10? We're looking at 15. Let's say 15,500 Rand that we can expect to have within our investment account after 10 years. But now I want to show you what a small change can actually do to that figure there. Now, let's say, for example, we now say every year we are going to increase our investment, our monthly investment by 100 Rand. That means in the first year we invest 100 Rand, second year it goes up to 200 Rand, third year it goes up to 300 Rand. But now let's have a look at where we're sitting in year 10. We're sitting at 80, let's round figures, 88,000 Rand. Can you see what the difference of an extra 100 Rand every year? You don't do it 100 Rand that you increase every month. You stay 100 Rand a month first year, then you increase it to 200. But have a look at your return. You see, that's why we say when you start investing, start small. Now you can start planning. You say, listen, darling, we're going to retire in 15 years' time, and we want to go on that world cruise. And let's say it's going to cost us 500,000. What do we need to put away? And let's say we start with 200 Rand instead of 100 Rand. Now have a look at where we're sitting after 10 years. Can you see the effect of small changes and what it gives you at the end of the day? So if you say, listen, we need that 500,000, what do we need to put in there if we want to go 50 years from now? And you can start with 500, increasing it, but let's say we put 700 in there and we increase it, and in 15 years time, we are sitting with 500,000 Rand, and we can actually take that world cruise. Guys, this is, it's something. What I do is I sit with my friends and I say to them, what would you like? What's it going to cost you? And how are you going to get there? Let's just plug the figures in here and see what it is that you need to do. And if they go like, okay, but how am I going to get there? Where am I going to get the money? Okay, I have an alternative. Okay, so that is how you would then, at the end of the day, how you would use that. And it's a great way to start talking to people and just get them to have a look at the future and, you know, things that they want. And you are the tool that can actually help them. I took my Access Wealth product. We've been in the business for 52 months. And that is where one of the products that we chose. And of course, that includes 100 Rand investment in a tax-free vehicle. So when you look at that there, we've accumulated 4,837, excluding this month's investment. That's sitting there. And a lot of people will say, well, you've lost money because you've been in the business for 52 months and you're sitting with 4,800. But now keep in mind, I showed you the graph, what happened with the investment. And soon we're going to be in the black again and actually growing. But the point that I want to make here is when we started in the business 52 months ago, we did not have a tax-free investment. We had zero, which meant that purely the fact that I took a product through Viewpoint, and which includes a tax-free investment, I've accumulated 5,000 Rand. It's 5,000 Rand that I did not have, apart from the 45,000 Rand a month that we're earning from the business. It's money that we did not have when we actually started the business. And yeah, we're looking forward to increasing that and really making it a significant amount. But to me, you know, when you look at the business and you look at Viewpoint and creating a second income, something that will supplement your income, but also it's something that can become so major that you might make the choice to say, well, this is going to become my primary income. You need to see the bigger picture as to what we're really doing there. And this is my personal vision of where Viewpoint is going to go eventually. Currently, we're sitting there in South Africa and here in South Africa, and the offices in Bryanston, and we're looking at all the other Constantia offices scattered over South Africa. But this is where we operate from, and this is the people. It's currently started in South Africa for South Africans by South Africans, and creating a second economy. That's what Brendan wants to create. But yes, my vision is that somewhere along the line, most probably the head office will still be based in South Africa, but we are going to be active all over the world. And that is my vision. It's where we're going to become world players and go out there and really, and do your homework. Go and research network marketing. And you will find that people make obscene amount of money through network marketing. The people that are global players, they make a lot of money, but it takes time. It's time and effort that's going to give you the result at the end of the day. Now, why I say this is my vision, this is Jack Ma. I think a lot of you know him. He's the chairman of the Alibaba Group and also the founder, richest man in China. And then we have Jeff Bezos. This is most probably the first person that's going to become a trillionaire. He's the chairman of Amazon. And he's currently the richest person in the world. And then, of course, Bill Gates with Microsoft. He's worth around about 90 billion in real time. That's a lot of money. And then Brendan Benfield. Now, we met Brendan around about 5 years ago. And when I met Brendan, it's just one of those people that have a vision that scares me. You know, when you sit down with Brendan and you have that personal one-on-one, and he says, this is what I would like to achieve. This is where I would like to go. He's a chartered accountant. And him and his brother, Stuart Benfield, actually started Prime Meridian Direct. His father, Dr. Brian Benfield, was the founder of Clientele Life. This is not a guy that grew up without vision. This is a guy that's absolutely focused, etc. Now, if you look at Jack Ma and all those guys and Brendan, what do they have in common? They have a crystal clear vision. They know exactly what it is that they want. And that is something that you should cultivate as well. It's where you have that crystal clear vision. This is where I'm going, and this is the vehicle that I'm going to use. Now, all those guys utilize technology extensively. They're all online. They're on Alibaba and Amazon, etc. And what they do is they appeal to the masses, not as a selective. I mean, if you look at, and you're going to go like, hang on. What about Bill Gates? Each and every person that has a computer most probably supports Bill Gates. That is the bottom line. But they sell convenience. So where can you find it more convenient? Sitting at home, go on your computer, select whatever it is that makes magic in your eyes, and have it delivered to your doorstep. Now, that is exactly what we're doing in Viewpoint. Brendan has that crystal clear vision. We utilize the technology extensively. We appeal to the masses. For $249, you can start a business, and we sell convenience where you run your whole business from a single app on your cell phone. Regardless where you are in the world, you have access to your business. Okay, but Donnie van Wyk said, for this to work, just show up. That is all. You need to be there, else it's not going to work for you. Now, when you think about it, just show up, use the products. This is where everything starts. I mean, if nobody is buying their products, the company does not exist. That's the bottom line. Viewpoint, the division, would not exist. And a lot of people said, yeah, now with COVID, people are going to cancel it. Guess what? We had excellent growth during COVID. I mean, we gave ourselves a 3,500 Rand a month increase on the month in the second month of lockdown. So the lockdown actually did us a lot of good, because now people sit up and take note of what it is that we do. Feed your own fish. You know, to me, there are 5 products in the basket. I've got all 5 products. Okay, now, the reason is, why do I have them? Because I'm feeding my own fish. Imagine this. You've got a hamburger joint somewhere, but your opposition is just across the street. Now, would you go lunchtime and you close your door and you walk across the street and you go to your opposition and you go and sit and eat the hamburger there? No, you won't do it, because you will kill your own business. And that's why we say, have a look at our products. Be an example. If you have, let's say, a network, you've got a channel of 100 people utilizing one product. That means you get paid on 100 products each and every month. Let's say, for example, those people, before they go to bed tonight, they decide, hey, I'm going to take a second product. What does that do to your income when you wake up tomorrow morning? Now you get paid on 200 products versus 100 products. You doubled your business while you were sleeping. But it starts with you. If you don't do it, guess what? The people in your channel won't do it. If you look at Access Wealth, 334 investment and personal accident cover. Like we showed you, we've already accumulated 5,000 Rand sitting there. It's 5,000 Rand that we didn't have when you actually started up. WealthGuard, 249 Rand, gives you 1 million Rand cover. Now, to put this in perspective, you need to pay 249 Rand for 4,016 months or 334 years before you've paid 1 million Rand. Now, you know, I don't want to mention the lotto and, you know, 1 million Rand and death and everything in the same sentence. But if you look at statistics in South Africa, and there's a website, lifeexpectancy.com, I think, but you will find it when you search for it. And it actually gives you the life expectancy of people around the world per country. But at the same time, it also tells you how people die within that country, how that figure is actually made up. And South Africa is not really doing well. I think they're sitting on ranked 143 in the world when it comes to longevity. But yeah, beside the point, if you and then they give you all the categories as to how people die. And I had to look at all the unnatural causes. That's like road accidents and murders and violence and all those kind of things, falls, drowning. And when you add it up, it's nearly 10% of the total deaths in South Africa is attributable to unnatural causes. And that is where Wealth Guard comes into it. It's accidental death cover. Now, when you look at that, that means that across the board, across all age groups, etc., there's a 10% chance that you're going to die due to unnatural causes, which means it's a 1 in 10 chance that there's going to be $1 million payout to your loved ones. Now, you know, like I said, I don't want to mention the lotto and everything. If I came to you and I said the lotto is R1 million, and you have a 1 in 10 chance to win that 1 million rand, are you prepared to pay 249 rand? Guys, this is an absolute no-brainer. No age restriction whatsoever. And then Legal Guard, where you get a legal indemnity cover for 250,000 per incident. Guys, one legal issue, one legal dispute that you have can totally wipe out all your wealth. You see, because what people do with money is that they will drag out the whole legal process until you don't have the resources anymore, until you don't have the money anymore, and you just surrender and you say, well, then take whatever you want to take. Guys, it's something that we really need in South Africa. I mean, if you look at it today, the courts are basically running the country. Well, the simple reason is that politics are so corrupt, etc., that we always need to go back to the court to get some form of judgment or some form of action. Just show up, use the tools. I mean, we've got this beautiful app, and people don't even know half of what that app can do. Go and watch on the dev seminars what that app is capable of. Guys, it's mind-boggling. What I'm telling you, that app is worth billions to you. You just need to use it. Social media, Viewpoint is all over. How do you utilize social media to get the message out there to the people that you know? Zoom meetings. I mean, yeah, we're sitting chatting. I mean, as if we're sitting there together. Yeah, and there are regular Zoom meetings. Do you log into those Zoom meetings? Do you use them? And then tell and show all. That's all that we need to do. Just show up, and this is what you need to do. Tell and show your story. And how do you do that? You do it through social media. And on that social media, you share your story. What is it that you're doing? Show your plan. If you say to people, you know, this is what I've planned, and this is the way that I'm going to do it. I'm going to invest 100 rand a month. This is what I'm going to do, and that's what I'm going to do at the end of the day. That intrigues people. They go like, oh, well, maybe I can do that, but where am I going to find the money? If you start the whole business and you say, I'm starting an investment plan of 100 rand a month, and I want to increase that 100 rand by 100 rand per annum. And that 100 rand per annum is going to come from my Viewpoint business. That's all that I want. I just want to increase my Viewpoint business by 100 rand a year. Okay, that means that you've got a business that pays for your investment, that doesn't come out of your budget. Okay, and that means at the end of the day, you're going to reach your dream. Okay, and share your progress with them. Tell people, this is what I started 6 months ago. And have a look at this. I've already achieved this. People out there are stagnating, they're going backwards, and they are intrigued by things that actually show progress and growth. And show your channel what you're doing. You see, they will do what you do long before they do what you tell them to do. Show them, lead them. Okay, show up by being that person in the channel that you want your lead wealth engineer to be. So what we shared with you in this Wealth Made Simple is a journey. Hopefully you can see that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, but it's going to be a journey. Okay, and keep in mind, being poor is a disease. If you say, this is the hand that I've been dealt, I can't do anything about it, you have a mind issue. Okay, you do not have an application issue. Being average is conditioning. So if you go like, I'm fine, I can still go on my caravan holiday once a year, etc., etc. I don't want to go overseas because I haven't seen my own country. Why haven't you seen your own country? Okay, change that. Okay, and wealth is being wealthy is a choice. So if you made that choice, if you haven't done it yet, make that choice today. So this is it. From this point onwards, I'm going to create wealth in my life and my family's life. Commit to that choice, because the easiest thing is to go, forget about it. Commit to it, even if it kills you, because it won't. Okay, but commit to that and see it through. We would love to hear about your successes. We would love to hear about your progress. We would love to hear about your plan. So see it through, share it with us, and I'm looking forward to a wealthy future. Just credits to the people that actually that put together the design, etc., of the slideshow, and the template by Slides Carnival, and the photographs by Unsplash.